Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Michelle here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Nicolas, who's selling a 3-site digital product business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Welcome to the show, Nicolas. How are you today?
Hey, I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to have you here today, and I'm looking forward to learning more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of it. It's a display advertising business in the digital media niche created in January of 2015. The average monthly revenue for the business is $12,659, and it makes an average of $10,317 per month in net profit. Included in the sale are 3 domains with all site content and files, a WordPress theme and plugins, an email list with 45,000 subscribers, a PayPal account, a Stripe account, a Help Scout account, social media accounts for Facebook and Twitter, a GitHub account, and a Vimeo account with 7 product videos. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 57026 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So Nicolas, now let's hear from you. What can you tell us about your background in building and running an online business?
Before this business, I was a freelance web developer. My job was to create websites for essentially small businesses. And I did that for a few years. So I had the experience, I had the opportunity to work with many types of small businesses, and I did some website development, SEO optimization, for example, website maintenance, and I was working on WordPress to create those websites. So that's how I came to the idea of creating a digital product business, simply because I thought it was way more predictable than waiting for a new client or to look for new clients, which can be very painful when you're freelance. So I thought that I could create something with recurring revenue, and that's how I came to the idea of this business.
So for people who are unfamiliar, how does this business primarily make money?
The idea of this business came up, as I was saying, when I was doing this job of freelancing. I usually used the same template. I created a template that I used for many clients, and I decided to propose this template on the WordPress.org repository for free. And it had quite a success because many people like me doing freelancing could find it very useful for their own project. So the business makes money by selling freemium WordPress themes and plugins. So, for example, a user starts with the free version of a product, and if they need more features, then they can click on the GoPro button, usually displayed inside their website backend, and they purchase the pro version of the product, and they have the choice to either purchase a recurring annual plan or to purchase the lifetime license. So that's how the business makes money.
And so you've had this for a while now, and you seem to be doing really well with it. So why have you decided to sell it now?
Well, yeah, as you said, I've done that for like 7 years now. And I had a great time doing this because I love creating and developing business. Well, now I have other personal and business projects that I want to focus on. So I thought that this business reached a point where I have developed it as I wanted. And now I want to focus on other business.
No, that makes sense. So speaking of businesses that you may launch in the future that you're starting now, is there anything that you've learned from this business that you'll apply to future businesses?
Oh, yes, many things that I learned. I think the most important thing that I learned is to really focus on the user feedback, which I didn't really do at first. So, for example, when a user discovers an issue or thinks that there is a missing features in the product, then really carefully listen to what people say and really use it in the way you develop the product. That's something I really learned from this business. Another thing I learned is that it's really important to automatize the tasks. For example, at the beginning, I was handling the support on a forum that I created on the website. And it was quite a mess because everyone could answer to everyone and I had to moderate, etc., etc. And it was not optimized at all. So I switched to Help Scout, which is a support software online that you can use as a SaaS product. And it includes documentation that you can add for your users. And the support by email is connected to the documentation very nicely. And this is a step that helped me to automatize a lot the business. Another thing very important is to document everything. So the product had to be documented very, very thoroughly and the process also. So yes, that's the kind of thing that I've learned, but I think those three things are very, very important. Listening to the users,
Automating.
automating support, and documenting.
No, that's great. So right now, where does the majority of your traffic come from?
It's pretty much organic mostly because most of the products have, most of the themes have a footer link that is printed on the websites of the users. And so I get traffic from those links. And it also comes from the documentation. People search on Google, and I have quite a few pages that rank very well on the search engine results for various topics about WordPress, about various technical topics. And this generates organic traffic.
That's wonderful. So could you explain to us what you're currently doing in terms of marketing?
There's actually no real marketing that's been done to sell the product. So this is something that could be one of the growth opportunity for the future. The marketing is basically, well, if we can call that marketing, is the people are happy with the free version and then they download the pro version, but the themes and plugins are not advertised anywhere. People can find it when they search for a theme or plugin, either on WordPress or on the web, or because they've seen a review on a blog. But I don't ask people to make those reviews. They do it by themselves. So I didn't pay anyone to do that.
Well, that's the best publicity you could possibly get.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally true. Yes.
And so aside from upping the marketing, maybe in paid advertising and whatnot, if you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you would try to grow it?
Many things that can be done and that I either didn't have the time to do or couldn't do by myself. Well, I would say the first thing that could generate revenue would be to create partnerships with hosting companies, for example, or non-competing plugins. Hosting companies have usually very attractive affiliation programs. And I think we have the same audience because all the users of WordPress product needs to host their websites with a hosting company like GoDaddy or lots of hosting companies. And so this will be a way to generate revenue because the traffic is quite significant on either documentation or my website. And this could definitely be a very interesting opportunity, I think. But I never tried it really. I tried once with Bluehost, which is another hosting company, a few years ago, but I didn't really work on this. I had a contact with a commercial person, but I didn't really work seriously on this because I didn't have the time at this time. So this is one opportunity. Another one would be to make partnership with non-competing plugins in WordPress. What I mean by non-competing is, for example, you have plugins doing SEO or performance optimization or contact forms, and which is typically not what my business is doing. And this could be a win-win partnership where each other, we recommend ourselves and there could be affiliation revenue generated with this. Of course, another opportunity would be to improve the product. So, for example, adding new features. I see that for themes, some of the competitors of my business are adding starter template to their themes, which is, I think, a way to really increase revenue, which I didn't do. And that's a great source of growth because currently the themes and the plugins have like 130,000 users and free users. So the goal would be to convert a part of those users into pro users. Considering the fact that the average spend is $70 for each pro customer, even if you convert a few percentage of those free users into pro users, you can definitely generate a lot of money. So I would say that this could be maybe the first opportunity. It's difficult to say this one is better than this one. Depends on the type of buyer that would be interested in this business. But if you are pure WordPress buyer developer, if you have a WordPress background and you have a team of people who know WordPress, you can definitely focus on the product. If you don't have internally a WordPress team, you can definitely find easily WordPress developers on the web or on platforms because WordPress is widely used in the world, so it's pretty easy to find developers. So,
Well, I was going to ask you about that. What skills or requirements do you think there are for someone who's not familiar with your niche or your business model?
I would say that if you're not familiar with WordPress, the best skill that you would need would be to hire the right people. And this would be a person with a WordPress skills and also WordPress knowledge, knowing the ecosystem of themes, plugins. This is important to say that the business is pretty passive. The revenue is pretty passive, which, to be more precise, the average number of hours per week is about 10, 9, 10, which is 5 hours. If I break it down, it's 5 hours of support and 4 hours of basic maintenance. So the people who can do the support are very easy to find. And for development, you need more a WordPress developer. There's a lot of people and platforms who can propose services like this. So this is if you don't have a WordPress background, but if you do, then you can pretty much do everything by yourself.
And what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
I think that the risk is, for example, that you have an important WordPress update. So every year you have like 2 or 3 big WordPress update, WordPress core. When I say WordPress, I'm talking about the WordPress core software. So there can be a risk if there is a change in the code that you didn't really test. So to avoid this kind of risk, of course, the WordPress team release the next version way before it's officially released so you can test. So this is something that you have to have in mind, but there are never major change that breaks everything. So of course, this is a risk quite limited. Another risk I could mention is, for example, on the WordPress platform, you have rules to respect. If you propose theme or plugins, you have to follow a number of rules that you can't break. Otherwise, you have to be banned or you can't stay on the platform. For example, you can't advertise products that are not open source, that are not respecting the WordPress license, stuff like this. So you have to, of course, be aware of this. This is a risk if you don't know this kind of rule on the WordPress platform.
And are you willing to commit to a non-compete for a future buyer?
Yes, absolutely.
And how much support are you offering buyers?
I'm willing to offer a month of support with phone calls if needed, and of course, emails as much as needed, actually, to be really precise. If a buyer needs some help, I would be happy to help during these first months. So,
That's fantastic. So are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
yes, why not? That could be a way to negotiate. Yes, definitely.
And out of curiosity, while you were building your business, was there anyone in particular who inspired you?
That's a good question. Oh, I wouldn't say that I was inspired by anyone. No, I had no mentorship or inspiration from someone.
And putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
First of all, I think that WordPress is an evergreen market or industry because at the time we speak, it's more than 40% of the websites in the world that are created with WordPress and it's still growing. I think that there are many opportunities of growth when you have already free themes and plugins that have a large audience like the one of my business. I think that the website generates a very significant traffic organic, so that opens a lot of possibilities. So definitely I would say that it's a very promising and predictable business to run.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, is there anything else that you'd like to share that I might have missed?
So I don't.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Nicolas. It's been a pleasure to learn more about you and your business.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 57026. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.